The sirens at Firebase Kilos did not scream. They pulsed. A deep, rhythmic thrum rolled through the volcanic stone walls, vibrating armor plates, rattling weapon racks, and sending a quiet unease through every being inside the base. Coalition alert systems were designed to remain calm, to avoid panic. To Maya Reeves, that alone was the first bad sign. She was already awake. Years in Sigma Battalion had trained her to sleep lightly, to rise at the first change in sound or pressure. The moment the pulse hit, she rolled from her bunk, boots on, rifle in hand. Her wrist console flared to life. The fire exercise status? Reclassified threat level. Unknown all personnel to combat stations. Maya frowned. Unknown wasn't a word Coalition Command liked to use. She stepped into the corridor just as other soldiers poured out. Talion elites moving with fluid precision, their armor glowing faintly as weapons powered up. Plasma rifles hummed. Shield emitters crackled. A Veshkari officer barked orders in sharp clicks. Perimeter teams form up. Sensors show movement beyond grid delta. Maya fell in without comment. A few heads turned. Lore's eyes lingered on her rifle. No laughter this time. Contact. The perimeter overlook faced the Graxian wastes, a vast expanse of black ash dunes and jagged obsidian ridges. Coalition sensor pylons dotted the horizon, their holographic readouts flickering with static. That was the second bad sign. A Coalition analyst hissed nervously. Motion signatures are inconsistent. Thermal readings do not align with known life forms. Energy emissions, asked the Veshkari. Lieutenant Sakor, Maya remembered. Minimal. Almost none. Sakura stiffened. That is illogical. Maya rested her rifle on the parapet. Not if it's biological, she said. Several aliens glanced at her. Explain, Sakor demanded. Some predators don't advertise, Maya replied. They hunt cold. The ground shifted. At first it looked like the ash itself was moving, rippling, sliding downhill in slow waves. Then shapes rose from beneath it, tall, too tall. Creatures pulled themselves free, shedding ash like water. Oh. They were long-limbed and skeletal, their hides matte black and ridged, eyes sunken and reflective like polished stone. No armor, no weapons, just claws, each one longer than Maya's forearm. Coalition targeting systems locked on instantly. Plasma fire erupted. Blue-white bolts streaked across the wastes, slamming into the leading creature. Its hide flared briefly. Then the energy dispersed, bleeding harmlessly along its body. The creature kept coming. What? Someone shouted. Shields not responding. They don't have shields. The creatures broke into a run. Fast. Too fast. Adjust output. Sakor snapped. Increase plasma yield. The air filled with energy fire. The creatures staggered but did not fall. Charred flesh reknit, disturbingly fast, their movements barely slowing. Maya swore under her breath. Permission to engage, she said. Sakor hesitated. Coalition doctrine demanded data before deviation. That hesitation cost them. One creature leapt, clearing 50 meters in a single bound and slammed into the perimeter barrier. The energy wall flared violently, then buckled. Cracks spidered across it. Maya didn't wait. She shouldered her rifle. Boom. The first slug took the creature midair. There was no shield flare this time, no dispersal. The round punched through its chest and detonated inside bone. Fragments and black ichor sprang outward as the body collapsed in a broken heap. Every plasma weapon on the line went quiet. The second creature roared in awful, grinding sound, and charged. Boom, its head vanished. The third tried to dodge. Boom, its torso folded in on itself like paper. Maya worked the rifle smoothly, each shot deliberate, no wasted movement, no panic. Mass, velocity, finality. By the void, someone whispered. The remaining creatures slowed, not fear. Calculation. They shifted their path, angling away from Maya's firing lane. Seeking gaps in the perimeter where plasma fire had failed to stop them. Left flank. Sakor shouted, they are adapting. Maya cursed again. Your weapons won't stop them, she said flatly. Not fast enough. Sakor looked at her. Then what do you propose, human? Maya met his gaze. You let me lead. A dangerous thing to say. But the creatures were already breaching the outer wall. Sakor made his decision. All kinetic-capable units support the human, he ordered. Plasma teams provide suppression only. The order shocked the line. Coalition elites, following a human, but they obeyed. The cost of underestimation inside the base, chaos erupted. One creature tore through a bulkhead, claws slicing through composite alloy as if it were flesh. Another slammed a Threxan soldier into the wall hard enough to crater it. Plasma bolts flared uselessly against thick hides. Aunt Maya moved through the smoke, boots steady, rifle roaring. Boom, boom. Each shot dropped a target, but there were more. Too many. She shouted, slamming a fresh magazine home. Sikor fought beside her now, energy blade flashing, carving glowing wounds that slowed but did not kill. These beings were not in any archive, he snarled. Maya ducked under a swinging claw and fired point blank, the recoil nearly knocking her off balance. Welcome to a death world problem, she replied. They reached the command nexus just as another barrier failed. Coalition officers stared at the tactical display in horror. They are breaching on 3 levels. Maya studied the map. They're not random, she said. They're testing us, probing. Sakor's eyes widened. You believe they are intelligent? I know predators, Maya said quietly. Ain't these ones learn? She looked around the room.
How many kinetic weapons do you have?
Silence. A weapons officer swallowed.
4.
Maya closed her eyes for half a second. Then listened carefully, she said. Because if we don't change how we fight right now, this base falls. Shifting doctrine orders flew. Barricades were reinforced with dense materials. Gravity fields were altered to favor projectile trajectories. Plasma units were repositioned not to kill, but to herd. Maya took point at the main breach. The creatures came again. This time they didn't charge blindly. They spread out. Maya smiled grimly. Good, she muttered. Know you're thinking, she fired. The aliens behind her followed awkwardly at first, then with growing confidence as kinetic rounds worked. Limbs shattered. Bodies fell. The creatures began to retreat, not routed, withdrawn. As the last one vanished into the ash, the base fell silent. Smoke drifted through shattered corridors. Emergency lights flickered. Coalition command slowly realized the truth. Their models were wrong. Their doctrine was incomplete. And a single human corporal had shown them why. Sakor approached Maya. His posture changed, less rigid, more respectful. You saved this installation, he said. Maya shook her head. No, she replied. I bought you time. She looked out at the dark horizon. They'll be back. When Corporal Maya Reeves stepped off the dropship at Firebase Kilos, the laughter started before her boots even touched the deck. It wasn't loud laughter. Not at first. Just low clicks, rasping breaths, and the faint shimmer of bioluminescent skin tightening in alien amusement. Maya felt it anyway. Firebase Kilos sat on the edge of the Graxian frontier, a half-finished fortress carved into black volcanic stone. It was meant to be humanity. Yes. Learning post, a place where Terran forces trained alongside the Coalition's elite alien soldiers. In reality, it was a proving ground, and Maya had arrived carrying the wrong weapon. The rifle rested across her back like a slab of old-world iron oversized. Matte black, scarred with hand-carved Terran markings. No glowing coils, no gravitic stabilizers, no sleek alien curves. Just steel, mass, recoil, primitive. She ignored the stairs and marched forward, posture straight, steps measured. Her armor bore the faded insignia of the Terran Expeditionary Force Sigma Battalion, a unit known for being expendable. A voice cut through the air. Is that kinetic? Maya stopped. She turned slowly toward the speaker, a Veshkari lieutenant, tall and blade-limbed, his translucent armor pulsing faint blue. Around him stood half a dozen Coalition elite species that had survived worlds humans would call nightmares. The lieutenant's eyes compound and shimmering ran over her rifle again. You brought a slug thrower 2 kilos? He asked, against plasma-shielded targets. Soft laughter rippled through the group. Another alien, bulkier and plated like a living tank, rumbled. Perhaps the human did not receive the armory update. No, a third hissed. Look at the size of it. That thing is a museum piece. Maya said nothing. She reached up and unhooked the rifle, letting it drop into her hands with a heavy, unmistakable thud that echoed across the hangar. Conversation slowed. The rifle was enormous, longer than most Coalition energy weapons. With a reinforced barrel and thick shock-absorbing stock, Etched into the metal were tiny Terran words, worn smooth by years of handling. The Veshkari lieutenant tilted his head. "You question our judgment by bringing that here?" he said calmly. "Yes." "I don't question anyone," Maya replied. Her voice was even flat. "I brought what works." A few aliens clicked their mandibles in amusement. "What works," the lieutenant repeated, "is technology. Precision, efficiency, coalition doctrine." He gestured to the firing. "Range visible beyond the hangar rows of holographic targets backed by reactive shields. You will find your rifle ineffective." Maya met his gaze. "Then I'll learn something today." That earned a sharper laugh. The test word spread fast. By the time Maya reached the range, a crowd had gathered. Not just trainees, instructors, command observers, even a coalition weapons analyst hovered nearby, recording data. They all wanted to see the human fail. The range instructor, a scarred Threxan veteran, activated the console. "Standard test," he said. 3 targets. Plasma shields active. Distance, 500 meters. Maya nodded and took position. She knelt, adjusted the bipod, and rested her cheek against the stock. The rifle felt familiar, comforting. Behind her, someone muttered, "She won't even penetrate the shield." Another voice replied, "Humans rely on aggression, not intelligence." Maya exhaled slowly. She didn't rush. The rifle wasn't designed for speed. It was designed for certainty. Her finger tightened. Boom. The sound was violent, far louder than the coalition's humming energy weapons. The recoil slammed into her shoulder, driving the stock back, the shock dampeners whining. The projectile crossed the range in less than a heartbeat. The first target's plasma shield flared bright, confident, and then collapsed inward. The slug punched through with a sound like tearing metal and vaporized the target core in a spray of molten fragments. Silence. A few seconds passed before the range computer chimed. "Target destroyed." Maya adjusted her aim. Boom. Second target. Same result. Whispers spread now, sharp and uncertain. "It's impossible. Kinetic mass should disperse." Boom. The third target didn't just fail. It exploded, the shield overloading violently as the dense projectile dumped all its energy at once. The range lights flickered.
Ow.
Maya rose to her feet. She turned around. Every alien eye was on her rifle. The Veshkari lieutenant stepped forward slowly, disbelief etched into his posture. "What modifications?" he demanded. Maya shrugged. "None that matter. That weapon violates standard engagement models." She nodded. "Your models assume enemies who don't adapt." The Threxan instructor cleared his throat. "What is the projectile composition?" Maya smiled faintly. "Tungsten alloy, depleted, hardened." A ripple of unease passed through the crowd. "Pure mass. No energy signature. No warning." Dismissal, the demonstration, ended quickly after that. Officially, Maya's results were logged as an anomaly. Unofficially, she was reassigned to auxiliary barracks away from coalition elites. The message was clear. "You impressed us. That doesn't mean we trust you." As she cleaned her rifle later that night, the room quiet except for distant machinery, Maya replayed the looks on their faces. Not fear. Not yet. Confusion. And confusion, she knew, was the first crack. Her wrist console pinged. "Incoming orders, live fire exercise, 0600 hours, joint operation, coalition command, unknown parameters." Maya locked the rifle and leaned back against her bunk. "They're going to test me," she murmured. Outside, beyond the walls of Firebase Kilos, the Graxian wastes shifted. Something ancient stirred beneath the ash, something coalition sensors had recently started misreading, something that didn't care about plasma shields. Maya closed her eyes. Good, she thought. Let them watch. They came back at dawn. Not as a wave, as a decision. From the observation tower, Corporal Maya Reeves watched the ash plains of Graxia shift with deliberate purpose. The creatures rose in lines this time spread wide, flanking, moving with a hunter's patience that no longer hid confusion, it learned. Coalition sensors still struggled to lock on. Energy signatures remained negligible. Thermal readings were erratic, misleading. But Maya didn't need instruments to know what she was seeing. "This isn't a probe," she said quietly. "It's a kill run." Lieutenant Sakor stood beside her, his armor dulled and scorched from the night before. Around them, Coalition officers filled the command deck, their expressions tight with something new. Respect, fear, how many? Sakor asked. Maya adjusted the scope on her rifle. Enough. The last line, Firebase Kilos, had changed overnight. Barricades now reinforced with dense alloys-lined corridors. Gravity regulators hummed at altered settings. Ammunition, crates kinetic, ugly, brutally simple, were stacked beside sleek plasma weapons. Coalition doctrine had bent, not broken yet. Maya stood at the forward kill zone, flanked by mixed squads, Threxan heavies, Veshkari blades, human auxiliaries brought up from reserves. None mocked her rifle now. They watched it. The ground trembled. The creatures surged forward in a wide arc, faster than before, their movements coordinated. Some carried scars, clean holes torn through limbs, fractures that had healed wrong, they remembered. Hold, Sakor ordered. Plasma teams powered up, energy fields shimmering into place, not to stop, but to shape the battlefield. Maya's finger rested on the trigger. Now, she said. Plasma fire erupted not at the creatures, but at the ground around them. Ash fused into glass. Heat shimmered. The predators reacted instantly, redirecting their charge exactly as planned. Into the corridor of fire. Boom. Maya's first shot dropped the lead creature mid-stride. Second fell a heartbeat later. Kinetic teams followed her cadence, the rhythm of heavy impacts replacing the hum of plasma. The creatures responded with terrifying speed. They split, they flanked, they leaped. One slammed into the barricade, claws carving deep grooves before a Threxan heavy crushed its skull with a kinetic hammer. Another vaulted over cover only to meet Maya's rifle at point-blank range. The recoil rocked her back. She held her ground. This is it, she muttered. This is where you decide. The breaking point. The largest of them emerged last. It dwarfed the others, its frame thicker, hide layered and ridged like living armor. Old scars mapped its body, evidence of battles survived against things far worse than plasma. Coalition targeting systems screamed warnings. Structural mass exceeds projections, an analyst shouted. Plasma output insufficient. The creature roared a sound like grinding stone and charged straight through the kill zone, absorbing hits that would have dropped anything else. Maya tracked it calmly. Gravity shift, she ordered. Sakor hesitated for half a second, then complied. The local gravity spiked. The creature faltered, joints straining under sudden weight. Maya fired. Boom. The slug punched into its shoulder, didn't kill it. She fired again. Boom. Another hit. Cracked plating. Still coming. The creature was adapting in real time, mangling its body, minimizing damage, learning how to survive kinetic fire. For the first time since arriving at Kilos, Maya felt uncertainty. Reloading, she called, slamming a fresh magazine home. The creature was almost on her. Sakor moved, energy blade flashing, but the creature backhanded him aside, sending him crashing into the barricade. Maya stood alone. She raised the rifle and paused. She didn't aim for center mass. She aimed for the ground. Boom. The shot shattered the fused glass beneath the creature's feet. Under increased gravity, the surface collapsed, pitching the massive predator forward. Maya stepped closer, close enough to see her reflection in its dark eyes. On my world, she said softly, we learned this lesson a long time ago. She fired one final round into its skull. The creature went still. Silence rolled across the battlefield, then retreat. The remaining predators pulled back as one, vanishing into the ash without another sound. Not rooted, not destroyed, defeated. Aftermath. Firebase Kilos stood battered but intact. Medical teams moved through the ruins. Engineers patched breaches. Coalition officers gathered in the command deck, replaying combat data they barely understood. Every model had failed. Every assumption had shattered. Sakor approached Maya slowly, his posture no longer rigid with authority but lowered in respect. You changed the outcome of this conflict, he said. You altered coalition doctrine. Maya shook her head. I showed you a tool, she replied. What you do with it is up to you. A senior coalition commander stepped forward, his voice heavy. Our technology is advanced, he admitted. But we forgot something. What? Maya asked. He met her gaze. That survival is not elegant. Maya allowed herself a small smile. The message 2 days later, a coalition-wide transmission went out. For the first time in recorded history, human combat doctrine was not categorized as primitive. It was labeled essential. Training programs were revised. Kinetic research expanded. Human advisors requested not as curiosities, but as necessities. As for Maya Reeves, she was offered promotion, transfer, command. She declined them all. She stood once more at the edge of Firebase Kilos, rifle resting against her shoulder, watching the ash plains where predators still moved in the distance.
Ow.
They'll adapt again, Sakor said, joining her. Maya nodded. So will we. She looked down at the rifle, the weapon they had laughed at. This, she said, is the weight of humanity.